COVID Corner, a show where we examine the impact COVID-19 has had on our community. I'm your host, Kylie Lindquist. And my first guest on today's episode is Bryant Rouleau from North Riverside's Parks and Recreation Department. Hi, Bryant.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
So before I get too far into some questions about COVID, can you tell us, for the viewers who may not know, what is the Parks and Recreation Department in North Riverside?
So we like to think of ourselves as the pulse of North Riverside. We throw some massive events to bring neighbors and the community together while overseeing sports, camps, all those fun programs, specialty programs, and social clubs. And we also oversee our PACE bus system for the senior services.
Oh, wow, that's great. What would you say are some of the favorite programs you think that people really latch onto from the Parks and Recreation Department?
Our unique sellout events. We have bunny bingo, turkey bingo. We do an adult egg hunt. We've had some new ones coming up. Our basketball league is pretty popular in town, and then our day camp is our next other biggest thing.
That's
we see
awesome.
Over 200 kids.
That's awesome. So how long have you been with the Parks and Recreation Department?
I'm going to be 7 years in April.
Obviously, a lot of the things that you're talking about have to do with connection and people getting together and doing things. So what sort of impact has COVID-19 had on your programming as a whole at the Parks and Rec Department?
We definitely have to get more creative. We're very creative as it is, but definitely thinking outside the box. Making some programs smaller, cleaning up a lot more, bringing programs outside where you can have more people and separate them. We've just a lot of new programs. We've been egging people's houses for Halloween. That was a fun one. We're now Grinching people's houses.
What does that mean? Tell me about that.
There are black Easter eggs that were filled from our adult egg hunts.
Yeah.
And you got 20 eggs on the front of your lawn.
Yeah.
And it was the whole thing of egging people's houses for the holidays. For Halloween. Now we're Grinching people's houses with green eggs.
That's cool.
So
That's
it's a lot of fun
cool.
just to get people out there.
And how does that work? Does someone contact the department and say, I want to Grinch my sister's house? Or
Yes,
something
that's
like
exactly
that?
what it is. So
That's
they can sign
awesome.
up and do it all over the phone, contactless.
That's awesome. And a nice way to give somebody a little bit of holiday cheer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, as we're dealing with this. So aside from having to get more creative, right? How has COVID impacted your department in terms of, people coming into work? How does that all look now in this atmosphere?
We all are in. We all distance ourselves as much as possible. Governor has shut us down again, but we are just coming up with new ideas. We're good with curveballs.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a lot of non-contact stuff going on. We have our e-learning program going still, just where the kids can come in and do all their learning and get the help when their parents are at work.
Oh, that's awesome. If people wanted to know more about the Parks and Rec Department, where would they go to find out that kind of information?
Facebook is our number one.
Awesome.
We have a QR code that you'll see on even all of our signs we put out. You just scan that. But Facebook and our village website, because our book right now is completely digital.
That's
Because
awesome.
we're coming out with books every 2 months, roughly.
Absolutely. What is the highlight of working at the Parks and Rec Department for you? What do you love most about your job?
Seeing people smile. Love doing our daddy-daughter date nights and that, and people are out and they just love it. And then you go on Facebook and people are posting it on the forums, or friends you see are posting friends' other stuff. So it's great to see that you're brought out everywhere else in the community, even though that was one night. And it's just the memories.
Absolutely.
Seeing that everything's
That's
coming
awesome.
together.
Again, promoting that connection, right, to people. I imagine that when COVID-19 is, sort of a distant memory, right, when the vaccines have come out and the numbers have gone down, I imagine the Parks and Rec Department is going to be real excited.
Oh, yeah.
And be ready to put on some cool events.
We'll be ready to hit the ground running.
That's awesome. Is there anything you would like people to know about the Parks and Rec Department that maybe they don't know, or something that you really just want to message our viewers about your organization?
We're here to have fun. We're here to keep community, to build that aspect, keep people's hopes high during such a rough time. We're definitely there just to build that community aspect in the end. We just love everything about it, and we actually miss seeing the people.
That's awesome. That link to the community is so important. It's what all of us are missing.
Yes.
But it's good to know that people can still find some of that link through the Parks and Rec Department.
Yeah, we have a bunch of new programs. They're always out there on the Facebook page. There might not be in the book, but there's definitely ways to keep people.
Absolutely. It's been really nice talking to you, Bryant.
Yes,
I
it's been
really
great.
appreciate meeting you and learning a little bit more about your organization. Go on to that Facebook page, viewers, and find out what's going on at the North Riverside Parks and Recreation Department. They're here to keep that connection alive, even when we can't be together. Thanks again so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is one of our new Deans of Students at Riverside Brookfield High School this year, Mrs. Carol Weinberg. Hi, Cara. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's so nice to see you. As you may already know, COVID Corner is a show where we examine the impact that COVID-19 has had on our community. One of the significant impacts we all know is the fact that we have been in some form of remote learning, right? So I want to get your perspective a little bit in a couple of different ways. One, as a new staff member to RB, and two, as a new dean for the first time. So talk to me a little bit what it's like to start a new job in a new school during a global pandemic.
Definitely. So it's a little intimidating because I can't see anybody's whole face. So that has been a little bit intimidating. It's been tough to kind of learn names and things like that. But we work in a building with some of the most supportive teachers and staff that I've ever seen, and an incredible community and students. And so it's been really nice to get opportunities to connect with students and teachers and staff, whether it's going into classrooms or bringing students in or doing home visits. It's been really, really great in that regard. You know, my average day is a lot of COVID-focused things, and so I'm looking forward to the day when my job shifts to more of a student focus.
Absolutely. And so, you know, working with the deans in any high school, you were a high school teacher before you were here. We know the deans are typically dealing with discipline issues that come across their desk when kids are in the building. Kids aren't in the building. So how has your day looked since you got here? What kinds of things have been keeping the dean's office busy during this pandemic?
Sure. So we have not had really many discipline issues at all. I'm constantly impressed by how well behaved our students are and that they know the norms and values of the school. I think that's great. My day typically starts with contact tracing. If you don't know what contact tracing is, that is when we're notified of a student who is experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or has been exposed to COVID-19. Or is COVID-19 positive. And so we make a phone call home, we find out who that student has been around, if they've been in the building, and we go from there and we contact other individuals. I would say that is probably 50% of our job. You know, we notify the community, we notify the school when those, you know, cases are positive.
That sounds like a task in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
But it still gives you that student connection,
yes,
right? That you're looking for.
Absolutely.
When you came into this, right, you applied for a job as a dean at RB. What was it that attracted you to say, you know what, I think I want to try my hand at that?
RB is a really special place. I've known that RB is a special place now for a few years, even from the time that I went to high school down at Sandburg. And so I've always known about RB and what a cool place it is. I was attracted to RB because it is a smaller school. I love that. I love that it's in a tight-knit community. RB and RB students really excel at academics, at sports. You know, their teachers are great. So I've always been really interested in that. You know, in getting to RB in some capacity. And then in terms of the dean's position, I really want to serve students and communities and families in this role. I think it's gone are the days of the dean being, you know, the mean disciplinarian who puts you in detention. Deans really work a lot at problem solving for families and students, and I was really excited to be a part of that problem solving.
So obviously we know how this has impacted your work life, right? So how has this impacted you on a personal level in terms of some of the things that maybe you like to do that you can't do? How has this impacted you out of work?
Sure. So my husband and I are avid travelers, and this has obviously made it very difficult, impossible to travel. We have a little bit of wanderlust happening where we're constantly looking up the next trip that we're able to take and hoping it's, you know, fingers crossed sometime soon. Like many of us, you know, the viewers who are watching and staff who are here and students, we haven't really been able to see our families as much as we would have liked to. And when we are with them, you know, we mask up. So it's definitely different. We have little nieces and nephews that we are hoping to get to play with very soon.
Yeah.
And, you know, personally, I just think it's been a little bit isolating.
Sure.
So we've definitely had to find opportunities to connect with people, whether it's, a Zoom hangout with some friends or family, or my family loved to do trivia during the March lockdown, so we would play trivia on Friday nights together. It's just been, you really got to find ways to connect with people outside your home.
For me, it's been Lego. What has been your favorite COVID pastime when you're at home?
We like to puzzle.
Nice.
Puzzles. What else? A lot of Netflix.
Yes.
A lot of, real garbage TV.
Yes, absolutely.
Not much of quality happening there. Listening to records. We bought a record player in March.
Nice.
And so we've been, we'll order from Amazon or eBay real cheap old records and play them and see what we like and what we don't like. And that's been really nice.
So think about a world post-COVID-19. Mm-hmm. I do this a lot, right? Tell me what the first thing you want to do is when we get to breathe that we're kind of free, right? We have a vaccine or the cases have gone down. What's the first thing that you want to do that you haven't been able to do?
I'm going to go with a professional and a personal angle.
Okay.
Professionally, I am just very excited to see everybody's face.
Yes, yes.
To kind of connect with the kids here and the teachers a little bit more in that regard. Personally, a party with friends and family, and then travel. My husband. Where
are you going to go?
Well,
That's the question.
Right. We were supposed to go to Israel March 24th last year, and obviously we could not do that. So hopefully we're able to go back to Israel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It has been super nice talking to you.
And you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate having you here. You've brought some new life to the Dean's office, you and Dean Jaquez, and we're very, very grateful that you are with us at RB and that you joined us today on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks a lot. We will be right back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is Judy Mantel from PeopleCare. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
I'm really excited to hear, what is PeopleCare? Tell us a little bit about your organization.
PeopleCare, Inc. is an organization that was started in 1990 by Helen Jablonski, who was 70 years old at the time. She noticed that there was a need for transportation and friendly visitors for her peers. And she started PeopleCare, Inc., and we provide transportation services, friendly visitors, group grocery shopping, telephone reassurance, and now our newest program is we're starting telemedicine for our seniors that don't have access to smartphones and computers.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome.
It is pretty exciting.
So it sounds to me, honestly, like you give people rides, somebody goes over. What does that friendly visit look like? That's the one that sounds the best to me.
The friendly visitor is similar to a ride where we have volunteers that are paired with our senior citizens, and they go over and they sit and talk. Sometimes they play games. We have one volunteer who will help the senior open their mail and say, this is a solicitation, this is an actual bill. You don't need to send $5 or $10 to the solicitation unless you want to. And they just sit and visit for half hour to an hour once or twice a week. And if now we're not doing in-home visits, we're doing telephone reassurance visits.
Okay.
And we have our staff makes telephone reassurance calls along with a core group of volunteers that are calling all of our seniors at least once a week.
Wow, that's
so
so
they have
cool.
Someone to talk to.
That connection is still alive for them.
Yes.
Now, how does a senior citizen get involved in your program to receive that benefit?
They just have to give us a call. We'll talk with them on the phone, and then we'll send them out a welcome packet. And the packet has obviously a registration sheet in it, and then descriptions of all of our services and our programs. And we also put in there like the copy of our most current newsletter.
Sure. So. And it sounds like this service is free to senior citizens, or no?
It's a 50-50 deal. We do not deny anyone service. We do have two levels. One is a membership level for $60 for 6 months. You can have all the rides that you need.
Oh, wow.
At no
How
charge.
affordable is that?
Or you can go our a la carte menu, which would be $5 per ride.
Oh my gosh, you can't beat that.
But if a senior citizen is not able to afford that, we give them their rides.
Wow,
we do not
that's
say
incredible.
No.
That's incredible.
So
have you seen an increase? Have you seen a decrease? How have you seen the participation in your program impacted since COVID-19 hit?
Originally, we stopped doing rides, except for our very essentials, our dialysis, our chemotherapy, and our radiation people. Mm-hmm. We still provided transportation for them because that is a life support system.
Yes.
But regular rides to doctor's appointments, hair appointments in the grocery store, we stopped doing those to begin with. We do have a core group of volunteers that will go and do personalized grocery shopping for some of our clients, and then they do a no-contact delivery to them.
That's awesome.
And we're continuing to do that. So our rides have obviously dropped off. Normally by December, well, the end of the year, we've done about 1,800 to 2,000 rides for the year. We're only at 1,100 this year, which is still really, really good when you think about not giving rides for quite some time. And then our telephone reassurance has actually skyrocketed. It's up way over like 200% now.
Wow.
So, but it's a very important thing for us to do.
Absolutely.
And we also send out greeting cards monthly to our residents, or clients, I should say, they're not residents, because sometimes that's the only nice piece of mail they get. And they're just greeting cards that say, hey, happy day, or, you know, that type of things. And we send birthday cards out also.
That's awesome. Yeah. So if I'm watching at home and I want to know more, I want to get involved in some way, do you have a phone number or website you can share with us?
Absolutely. We do have a website. It's www.peoplecareinc.org.
Okay.
And our phone number is 708-442-1223. And we obviously have staff that answers the phone all the time. So that's not a problem. And if you have to leave a message, we do return that call before the end of the business day.
That's awesome.
So
thank you so much for joining us, Judy. This was really great, and it's really cool to hear about PeopleCare.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
Really
so for those of you at home, www.peoplecareinc.org.
Correct.
You can head over and see the services that PeopleCare offers, and if you need some help or if you want to be a part of the solution and donate, you can do all of those things.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank
We're
you
also on Facebook.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Instagram,
Fantastic. Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook
you've got
and
it all.
Instagram, yeah. We're coming into the new millennia.
That's perfect. Thank you for all that you do for our community in these times and all times.
Yes,
That's awesome.
It's our pleasure.
Wonderful. Thank you to our guest, Judy Mantel from PeopleCare. We will be back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is Erin Molak from Beds Plus. Hi, Erin. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kylie. Thanks for having me.
It's very nice to meet you, and I'm very excited myself to hear about and for you to tell our viewers a little bit about what is Beds Plus. Can you give us like a little spiel about what your organization is and what it does?
Absolutely. We are the service in the southwest suburbs for vulnerable individuals who are experiencing housing risk or are at risk of losing their housing. So we're stabilization and we are emergency services for those individuals.
Wow, absolutely. So we're looking right now, obviously on this program, at the impact that COVID-19 has had on our community. And we know that loss of jobs, loss of income, so many different things have affected people and families. So how does your organization get involved with people who are in need?
So there's many tiers there. We are part of an alliance in the area where there's a hotline you can call if you are in need of services or if you're experiencing some sort of crisis in your life, as many people are at this time. So you can contact us directly. So that number, if I can share it, is 708-354-0858, and that would be through our prevention services. But also if you are homeless or already struggling, you can contact us and we can assist you in getting some form of shelter during this time.
Wow. So how have things looked differently in your organization post-COVID-19 than they would typically? Because this is a service that you offer always, but I have to imagine there's been a dramatic impact once that pandemic hit the area.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We hit the ground running about a week prior to the shutdown in March, and we were able to offer a consolidated shelter, which was at one location in Brookfield, and we were able to keep individuals there and safe with no COVID cases. But as July turned around and as the phases changed, we were unable to, that was not a feasible program anymore.
Okay.
But to keep our high-risk clients who have health risks and other issues safe, we had also a motel program for those individuals during that time since March, but then we continued that program starting in July, where we now have over 150 individuals and families who we are presently housing in motels.
Wow.
In scattered motels within the southwest suburbs and
Absolutely.
areas.
Where does the funding for something like that come from? How does that work?
Well, it's from a variety of resources. Particularly in the community we live in, we have many private donors, whether they're businesses, individuals who have been supporting us, fundraising events, which we have one coming up soon, and also from the public sector, which could be, grants, proposals, things like that we apply for within service agencies.
Absolutely. So what's that fundraiser that you have coming up? Let's hear about it.
We have our annual fundraiser, which of course will be virtual this year. It's the Soup and Bread virtual event. It'll be January 31st from 3 to 4 o'clock. And we are already gearing up for it, where you can buy tickets, do crowdfunding at home or with your own family, to break bread and have soup with us virtually. And we're going to share some of our clients' stories and how BEDS is, responding to this crisis that's happening to everyone.
Wow, that's amazing. How long have you been with BEDS?
I believe I have been there 7+ years.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. And it sounds like what makes all of this work are the fantastic people that you have working with you, the case managers and that sort of thing. So it's really nice to know that there's a community of people waiting to give back and to help the community.
Well, and I think that is like the true element of our success. I get to talk about our case managers because that's not my department, and they are just fantastic. And our directors and people from the top down have just been outstanding through this crisis, and their skills have been evident in how the assistance we've been able to give to people, but also the outpouring of the community, whether through donations, through match-a-meal programs that we're doing with local businesses to keep them going, and then providing meals to clients. I mean, it's so cool. I mean, it's such a, when things get bad, it's amazing how wonderful people act.
Right.
And how great they're at, and how people are at their best.
That's where you see that resilience, right? Is the people wanting to help. So if I'm a person and I want to do some sort of continued support of BEDS, how do I go about that? I know I can join the annual fundraiser, but are there other ways that people can donate, or where would they go to find that information?
There's a lot of ways to help us out. I mean, and to get involved. Of course, we are not operating a volunteer program, and we have between 800 and 1,200 volunteers that annually helped us to run our shelter programs. But without that, there's of course monetary donations. Doing a drive for things that we need seasonally, whether they're gift cards right now, which we are in great need of, like mild, a small denomination gift cards that would help, like McDonald's, to help feed our clients, and anything from getting involved with dropping off our meals to doing a laundry kit drive where you provide laundry pods and dryer sheets in Ziploc bags so our clients at the motels can use them. But there's always ways to get involved, even if you go to our website and look on there, because we have wish lists to help clients over the holidays. We also have ways to get involved with our fundraiser, and there's a lot of other ways to just be a little creative. I've had some kids come back and do scavenger hunts or do things for their block. I had one group do an unblock party where they collected gift cards that came at a crucial time for us at the beginning of COVID.
That's awesome. And what is that website so people can jump over?
Oh, great. It's www.beds-plus.org. That's www.beds-plus.org.
That's awesome. It was really nice to meet you, Erin, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
That's, again, www.beds-plus.org. If you want to help out BEDS Plus, thanks to Erin for joining us, and we will be back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is Dr. Kevin Skinkus, Superintendent of Schools for Riverside Brookfield High School, Township District 208. Dr. Skinkus, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
As you may already know, COVID Corner is a show where we examine the impact that COVID-19 has had on our community. And our most significant community here at RB is the school itself. How has COVID-19 changed the way you have to approach running a school district right now?
That's a loaded question.
I don't mean it to be.
Well, it's been a very challenging time. Obviously, going back to last March, we've had to make a lot of decisions on the fly. This is a very fluid situation. Last year when we got through graduation and the administration and the staff pulled off that outdoor graduation ceremony, the drive up for the students. It was finally a high point during the pandemic, if you can have a high point during a pandemic, of where everybody came together and we pulled off a real special event for our outgoing seniors who really had, the class of 20 really had their senior year, their second semester of their senior year impacted. So that was a really big high point, and it was a very stressful time. And I thought, as the summer went on and people became more acclimated with the virus and the science changed and people gained more knowledge about COVID-19, that we would be able to open school. And obviously then guidelines from the IDPH changed a couple times over the summer. We had an increase in cases second quarter, right when we were trying to reopen school. There was a lot of negotiations with the union that needed to take place in regards to change of working conditions. So it has been a very interesting experience, to say the least.
Interesting. I like that word for sure.
The thing is these are tough decisions, and they're never right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got families that want their kids to be back in school. You got families that don't feel safe. You got teachers that want kids back. You got teachers that don't feel safe. You got board members that want kids back. They're coming, everybody's interests are at play,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing the best I can to try to make everybody's interest when I address everybody's interest when I make a decision, but it's nearly impossible.
We've talked, right? Looking to second semester, we are itching to get some kids back in this building. What does that look like for you? What are we waiting for, and what are our plans for second semester?
So, as of today, the first official week of December, we are seeing the numbers trend in the right direction. Obviously, I think they're still too high to come back out of the adaptive pause. So we'll most likely end up being in an adaptive pause till winter break.
Okay.
What I would like second semester to look like is January 4th will obviously be a remote day. January 5th would be the first day of in-person learning, and we would come back at 50%.
That's awesome.
We did the 25% experiment to just get students and teachers used to being back in the building, following our safety protocols, kind of like a soft opening.
Mm-hmm.
The data spiked at the wrong time, right when we were supposed to shift to 50%. We never got a chance to come back at 50%, but I feel comfortable, and I think our administrative team and overall our staff feel comfortable with the safety procedures that are in place so that we can open at 50% second semester. All this will be dependent on where the case numbers are with the IDPH, but barring any second or third surge, the goal is to start second semester at 50%. Students will be on campus 2 days a week. Those students that need to stay remote can still stay remote. And the building administration and the teaching staff have worked the second quarter on trying to identify some new technology initiatives and some other things they can use to help supplement their instructional methods to improve that overall experience.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The first goal was getting kids back on campus. And I know some parents were frustrated or students were frustrated. Well, we're just participating in Zoom. So the next goal of second semester is for those students that are on campus to get the traditional classroom experience as close as it can be during a pandemic.
Yeah.
While students that are not on their assigned day or have to stay home remote for whatever circumstances will get a very similar experience. So trying to increase teacher interaction, trying to increase the student-to-student interaction in the classroom so it can feel somewhat like school again.
Yeah, bring that connection back, make us get a little bit of normalcy back.
Correct.
I know kids are going to be really excited about getting to come in 2 days a week. Those students that have been coming in are all smiles. We see some of them in here in RBTV right now. Lighter side before I let you go. You're not just a superintendent, right? You're a dad. You have a wife at home. What are you most looking forward to doing, not work related, when this pandemic subsides, when we got a vaccine, when you and your family can say, we're going to go do something we enjoy? What do you most want to do?
Just being able to spend time with family and friends, I think is important. I think that's the thing that's really fatigued all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think we're all experiencing some fatigue because people are working from home or on computers more or spending more time in front of screens. You don't have as many of those opportunities to relax and unwind and recharge your battery.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think that's weighing on everybody these days.
Yeah.
And I think that's why everybody is a little short-fused.
Yeah.
And I do think hopefully winter break, people will get some rest and relaxation while staying safe. and look forward to second semester, and eventually look forward to trying to get back to some normalcy. And hopefully that's sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. That's what we're all looking forward to. Thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Skinkus. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Kylie.
We'll be back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. I am here with my next guest, sort of here virtually, right? With my next guest, Leah Ripe, who is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for one of our favorite places here at RB, the Brookfield Zoo. Leah, thank you so much for being here with us today in this unconventional format of Zoom.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
It's so nice. I was just saying earlier before we went on camera, it's so nice to have my mask off and talk to someone, but I'm talking to you up here on my camera so that it looks like I'm looking at you. So the logistics of the Zoom are kind of weird for me, but I'm super happy to meet you and so thankful for you being here with us today. As you likely know, COVID Corner is a show where we're talking about the impact of COVID-19 on various parts of our community. And for us here at Riverside Brookfield High School, a really big part of our community is the Brookfield Zoo. Fun fact is the first time I walked out of work on my way to my car and heard the lions roaring, I thought to myself, I came to the right place to work, right?
It's pretty phenomenal to hear them. Absolutely.
It's amazing. And I think one summer I was driving out of the parking lot and I saw a peacock walking around. It's really cool to be so close and to be neighbors with the Brookfield Zoo. And we're so excited to talk to you. First of all, when you think about COVID-19, you think about groups of people. So how has COVID-19, I'm assuming significantly, but maybe you can elaborate on this. How has COVID-19 impacted the attendance at Brookfield Zoo in terms of visitors coming into the zoo?
Yeah, pretty major. Of course, we're temporarily closed between March and July. But then when we reopened, we had to open under the state's guidelines for zoos, which meant 25% capacity, time ticketing, and all of the rest. So we typically see about 2.3 million guests a year. And to date, we've welcomed about 650,000. So you'll see.
Leah, that is significant.
Absolutely significant. Yep. So we are eager to get this, like everybody else, absolutely behind us and move forward because it's impacted greatly.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember days of coming into the parking lot in the summer, and if I didn't get here on time, if I stopped for a coffee, I was waiting in a line to get in because there's so many people that want to be at the zoo. 2.3 million a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow. So you touched on the limitations then for attendance still currently, is that at that 25% range?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
And no longer can guests just roll into the park. You really have to plan your visit. So we are asking people to go on our website and secure the time tickets as well as your parking ticket before you come to the zoo, because we have no capacity to take any funds at the gate at this time.
Okay, and you can do all of that from the Brookfield Zoo website.
You sure can. That's czs.org.
Perfect. So obviously this is a revenue loss for the zoo. How does, I always talk about the zoo as kind of a microcosm of society, right? Everything that we have in society in terms of jobs, the zoo has. You're like your own world, really. So how have you been trying to make up that revenue loss that is so significant by having to shut down for so long?
Yeah, it's been pretty significant as well. Absolutely. We have got some amazing friends and supporters that have come alongside of us, and, they've just rallied with us and are there to help us. We've launched a number of fundraising campaigns. Currently, we're doing our Above and Beyond campaign, and that's going to keep going all the way through next spring. Obviously, today is Giving Tuesday, so we're reminding folks on our social media channels to think of Brookfield Zoo when they're looking to donate. We appreciate any sort of funds you're able to give. There's even creative ways that you can support us by adopting an animal. So if you go to our website, you can pick out your favorite animal, and it's kind of a nice gift, right? If you're looking for that unique gift for someone in your life, maybe someone likes a tiger or a lion, you go on the website and support that animal in their name. And it's, you can support it for as little as $35. And there are some wonderful benefits that surround that nice donation between $35 all the way up to $5,000 if you like.
That's awesome. I think you just gave me an idea for a gift for my nieces and nephew, because that's one of the things that we love to do is come to the zoo with our nieces and nephew. Last year we did the penguin experience
Oh,
and got
that's
to
so
pet the
fun.
penguins. Oh, it was the greatest thing ever. So that's so awesome to know that there are still ways that people can feel connected to the zoo and still support the zoo. The animals are there all the time, so you certainly still have staff coming in to take care of the animals.
We do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but we actually have an animal hospital as
I
well.
didn't know that.
So yeah, we have full-time veterinarians that take
That
care
makes
of our
sense.
animals. And
Absolutely.
they're getting their teeth cleaned and they're getting their wellness checks. And honestly, they get better care than we take care of ourselves.
Sure,
Sometimes.
absolutely. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. It's a labor of love, right? The people that come in and take care of
mhm,
the animals over at Brookfield Zoo, really all of it is a labor of love, because
absolutely.
you're taking care of the animals, but you're also providing this amazing connection to people and
Mhm.
giving people an opportunity to connect with animals. That's the thing that I'm most sad about. The connection piece is
Yeah.
missing, and the zoo is such a connector for the community.
Absolutely. But you know what? We are so thankful that we're able to stay open even with our outdoor spaces, because we've received so many emails saying, thank you so much for allowing us. This is our only way we can see our family safely and
Oh,
still
that's
enjoy
great.
something wonderful together. So, there is plenty of room to roam at Brookfield Zoo. So you can come on
Yes.
out and, keep your social distance with your friends and family and still try to create some sort of normalcy in this crazy year.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things about the zoo is Christmas time at the zoo. Are you still doing the lights and the Christmas trees that has been tradition for the zoo in the past?
We are actually, this is our 39th year. We opened up this past weekend and we have actually expanded the number of nights because of the reduced capacity. We felt that we wanted to make sure that we gave everybody the opportunity to come on out. So now there's actually 24 nights of holiday magic.
Awesome.
So there's 21 left. You can still come on out. Again,
That's
it's time
awesome.
tickets, and the hours are between 3 and 9 o'clock for holiday magic. And
That's
the
wonderful.
lights are amazing. We have a 600-foot light tunnel. We've got a 20-foot light orb that you can get your picture taken in. We've had a number
Love
of
it.
wedding proposals there happen. Of course, the 41-foot tree. So,
Yes.
oh, and then if I can elaborate too, we have something new this year called the
Great.
Game of Gnomes. So
Ooh.
gnomes are kind of big right now. So we actually have 24 gnomes hidden throughout the park.
Oh,
So
I
it
love
gives
it.
something else a little fun to do when you're
I
walking
love
around. See
it.
if you can find all 24.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, lots of
Leah,
fun.
it's been so awesome to talk to you and hear about our friends over at the zoo and know that you guys are still there, ready to open the doors for the connection that people long for. Go get your tickets at Brookfield Zoo's website, parking tickets, admission tickets. 21 days left of that holiday magic. Thank you so much for joining us, Leah.
Thank you.
It was great to meet you. You take care and be safe. And I'm going to go back to my office and get on the website and find out about adopting one of those animals right now.
Fantastic. Thanks so much.
Take care, Leah. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We will be right back with more COVID Corner after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is Nev Norasith, who is a junior here at Riverside Brookfield High School. Hi, Nev.
Hi, it's great to be back.
Thank you for joining us. It's exciting to see students anywhere I can see students these days.
For sure.
So I'm thrilled. If I'm a little over exuberant, you'll have to excuse me.
All good.
So Nev, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're involved in here at RB as a junior in high school. What do you do with here?
Yeah, so at RB, I'm in many different programs. So one thing that I'm in is Best Buddies. I do POMs, and then I'm also in marching band as well. So those are probably like the three main ones that I'm involved in here.
So obviously, when we talk about the impact COVID-19 has had on everything in our world, all three of those things have to have been impacted, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which one do you think has been impacted most significantly of the activities that you do?
I would probably say POMs. Everything's virtual now, but with POMs, it's especially hard. Like now that we're in our competition season, it's hard to know who's hosting competitions, when those will be, if we will have any. And then with that, having that unknown, we don't know how long we're going to be practicing for or until when, and we don't know if the season's going to be canceled or impact other seasons
Yeah.
that I could potentially be involved in.
A lot of uncertainty around all of the things that we do, right? Now, you mentioned marching band. Marching band did some cool things, right, with the pandemic. How did you guys combat the pandemic and marching band and still work together to try to produce something cool?
Yeah, so it was quite difficult in the beginning, but Mr. Loeb and Mr. Baum have been doing an amazing job. We've used Soundtrap, which is this program in which we do our audio recording for certain like songs and music. Granted, it's not everyone participating fully because it's a lot of independent work and just like focusing on yourself and your certain part. But then with the details and when putting the whole thing together that Mr. Loeb and Mr. Baum do, then like with the edits and everything like that, it sounds amazing.
Is it cool to see that once it's done?
Yeah, and then with the marching band, we had a couple of practices. Everything was socially distanced and everything like that.
One of my favorite organizations at RB you're involved in, Best Buddies. And I love Best Buddies because of the connections, right? And it's all about making connections. And now we're not in school. So how has Best Buddies tried to deal with that, you know, when your organization is really built on connecting people together?
Yeah, so it really kind of depends on who you ask. I know a lot of the buddies, you know, some of them are a little bit more lenient to do things, whereas others may not. And so depending on peer buddies and associate buddies, we work together, and it's all about communication with all the parents and your buddies and checking in. And then depending on the buddy who you have and like who else is in your group, sometimes we'll do like non-virtual events, and like we'll get like ice cream and stuff, and like just like little things like that.
Yeah.
Or like we'll like play like a board game, which I know is like something like my group and my buddy and I did.
Yeah.
But unfortunately with some buddies it's a little hard to do that. But I know that we've done a lot of like virtual like Zoom calls and like weekly contact with them, and then in which like we'll like play charades like on Zoom.
Awesome.
And so we'll come up like with so many different things to do that like never gets boring, which is awesome.
That is awesome. I love that. So inquiring mind want to know, you're a junior. Junior is often said to be the most challenging year in a high school student's career. How has this whole online remote learning thing impacted your life as a student?
Well, unpopular opinion, I think that RB has done a really great job with, you know, virtual and everything like that. And it's saying that junior year, you know, you have the SAT and ACT and you're thinking about colleges, and it's a lot about your future, right?
Yes.
And so with that, not only has being virtual helped like me personally, like in figuring out what I want to do, but also I am able to maintain my grades. Whereas I also get that extra downtime now that we get out at 12:35 to think about, oh, where do I want to go to college, and have extra study time and do things that, you know, I wouldn't be able to normally do if we weren't in the situation that we are right now.
So how has this impacted your ability to decide where you want to go to school? You're not exactly running out to college visits right now, I know. So how do you deal with that?
Well, with a lot of colleges, if you look at their website, they'll have, again, many virtual Zoom calls in which they will tell you like, oh, like this is like the program. And then you can look at all the lists and programs that they have listed. And then from there, you get to, you know, kind of choose and explore. Granted, you're not there, you know, but I think the pictures on Google capture it pretty well. But I would say overall, like you get a lot of information. You just have to do the digging to receive that information.
Absolutely. Sometimes Google is a little scary good at how good you can see things when you use Google, right?
Just a little bit.
So imagine a world, right? Everybody's starting to talk about a vaccine, which is so cool. When we first started COVID Corner, we weren't talking about that yet. But now here we are coming to the end of COVID Corner. We're talking about a vaccine. What is something that you can't wait to do that you haven't been able to do during the pandemic once we're able to kind of go out into the world again?
Travel.
Ooh, good.
I am so excited to travel. Unfortunately, I had a lot of plans of traveling that I was going to do this summer. And kind of like throughout that got canceled, but it got pushed to, you know, this coming summer, you know, hopefully when there is a vaccine and to do so. So I'm really excited to, you know, go out of the country and travel.
Where are you going? I got to know.
Well, I'm doing the Galapagos Islands thing through the school.
Wonderful. That's awesome.
Yeah, which I'm really excited for.
I can only imagine how cool that will be.
Yeah.
Nev, it's been super awesome talking to you. I love your energy. I love seeing you smile. I can see it in your eyes under that mask. Having students in the building in any capacity does my heart good. So it was really awesome to talk to you.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Come back anytime. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to COVID Corner. Joining me now is Edgardo Guadalupe, co-owner of Michael's Pancake House in Riverside. Nice to meet you, Edgardo.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. So tell us a little bit about how you came to be a co-owner of Michael's Pancake House.
So my dad first has another restaurant in Worth.
Okay.
And he wanted to branch off. So his brother owns that restaurant, and now my dad's owning this restaurant, and I'm helping him as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So at the Pancake House, are you just breakfast? Do you close after lunch? What does your menu look like?
So it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So
awesome.
We're open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
That's awesome.
every day. So and you can get breakfast all day, like lunch for dinner.
Yeah.
Or you can get lunch or dinner for breakfast as well.
Absolutely. Do you see a lot of people come in and get breakfast for lunch and dinner?
Yeah, they do.
Absolutely. They do. I would think I would be the person that would do that too.
Yeah, same here.
So as you know, we've been talking about how COVID-19 has impacted our community. You and your family are business owners in this community. So how was your business impacted by this pandemic that we've been going through?
So I think that all businesses are really impacted by this, just because a lot of people want to eat out. They want to, spend some time out of the house, and with these restrictions, not a lot of people want to dine in or, come out. And it does take a toll because a lot of people don't really order for pickup or carry out, and it does hurt everybody, and and the economy with the governor putting all these restrictions, it does affect us all.
Sure. Have you started to see, as we've kind of progressed through the pandemic, have you started to see more people wanting to come in and carry out now that they're kind of getting used to, like, I can go out and pick something up and bring it home?
Yeah, so that's what we noticed. A lot of people are now tending to call in for carry out, curbside we offer, and it is helping, and a lot of people want to help out the small businesses. And,
absolutely.
And we like it.
Yeah. Now, where's your restaurant located so we can have the viewers pop by and take a stop in?
Yeah, right. It's 25 East Burlington Street in Riverside.
Awesome. And right now, are you able to have people in the restaurant or not right now?
No.
Not right now, but you are still open for carry out and pick up and all that stuff. Yeah, absolutely. So how has that impacted daily operations? Do you still go into the restaurant every day? Is there still that need to be there consistently for the takeout, the carry out?
So right now it is slow. So I mean, the weekdays, I don't really come in as much. I only come in on the weekends, which are busy.
Yeah, you see the uptick in the weekends?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, so, but during the weekdays, it's slow. I don't need to be there.
Sure.
And my dad just takes care of the rest the whole day.
Yeah. Now, your dad is a seasoned restaurant owner, right? He's been in the business for a long time. What are his thoughts about how this will impact the restaurant industry long term in terms of when people start to come back? Are you hopeful that people are going to be so excited that they're able to leave their houses, they're going to come to the Pancake House?
Yeah, so I think if this pandemic comes out ending soon, I think it will impact us because a lot of people do want to come out and eat. And we are waiting for something to happen, hopefully soon. But yeah, I think just people do want to eat.
Yeah, and when we can, Michael's Pancake House is going to be ready. Doors open,
yeah,
right?
We'll be ready, and it'll probably be packed.
Yeah, absolutely. If you had to pick one thing on the menu at Michael's Pancake House that is your favorite, what would you pick?
I would say the burgers.
Ooh, you're speaking my language right now. I love a good burger.
Yeah, Chipotle burger. So it's like a spicy burger.
I love it.
It's just the bun's all buttery. And
yeah, your dad's recipe, is he responsible for that Chipotle burger?
Yeah, I would say yeah.
I love it. That's awesome. So tell us that address one more time.
It's 25 East Burlington Street in Riverside.
And can people call then to get some takeout or some curbside carry out? Perfect. What's that number?
It's 708-442-1251.
Awesome. Edgardo, it's been super nice talking to you. I really appreciate you joining me. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. So if you're in the market for some good takeout, Michael's Pancake House is ready to meet those needs for you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of COVID Corner. I want to thank all of my guests for being here. I'm Kylie Lindquist, and I'll see you next time.